Good afternoon. We're here at the annual conference session of the Baltimore-Washington Conference, and we've just finished our Friday morning plenary session, and so I wanted to update you on the work that has been done in the life of the annual conference this morning. We started again with Bible study, powerful word, and talking about justice and whether we look at justice as being just for us or really can see the need for economic and social justice for all people. Looking at the words of the prophet Amos, and so powerful word. We continued into work and began our work with the second ballot, the first ballot of the morning, and we progressed through the ballots throughout the morning. So let me just kind of summarize, instead of going ballot by ballot, summarize the results of that. The names that are listed have held pretty consistent. So the order of folks on both the clergy and the laity ballots have held pretty consistent. The balloting right now is for our six clergy and six lay delegates to General Conference. Generally, the way we work is we elect those six, really those 12 persons first, and then we move on to the next six on either side, which will be our jurisdictional, and then we move on to our four alternates. We may, as we get closer to the end, change some of how we do voting. We do that every year at some point. In order for a candidate to win, they need to be elected. They need 50% plus one. And so over the course of our morning, our clergy have elected the top three. The first elected, which by our rules mean that that person will be the head of the delegation. This year it's clergy, so Ianther Mills was the first clergy person elected, and so she'll be serving as the head of our delegation, coming with a lot of experience both on delegation as well as connections across the church, and so that she'll be able to serve us very well. Next elected was the Reverend Dr. Joe Daniels, and then also Ginger Gaines Sorelli, both who served on the delegation last year. On the laity, the first elected layperson is Cynthia Taylor, who has been serving as our conference secretary. The next elected is Megan Blizzard, who is a young adult person in our conference. And so the clergy have three yet to elect for General Conference, and the laity have four yet to elect for General Conference. The bishop did suggest or invite folks, as we closed our time together, that she would welcome and invite persons over the lunch break to consider what sort of suggestions to the body they might make to help the body continue to move expeditiously through the election process, as well as the remaining resolutions. But again, the clergy have elected Ianther Mills, Joe Daniels, and Ginger Gaines Sorelli, and the laity have elected Cynthia Taylor and Megan Blizzard. In terms of the resolutions and the work that the body did, picking up as after the work yesterday, there were two resolutions from the Rules Committee, and both of those were approved. And you can find those. Those are listed as numbers 6 and 8. Resolution 7 about providing nursing and pumping accommodations within the annual conference was approved unanimously. There was a lot of discussion, and in fact it got broken up because we had some orders of the day around Resolution 9 pertaining to the attendance at meetings for general and jurisdictional conference delegates. So in the end, that was approved, understanding that there were some constitutional questions. So it was immediately the body voted to send that piece to the Judicial Council for review. Even our Rules Committee, in discussing it, had some questions about whether it would be constitutional. Really, if that piece of legislation is unconstitutional, there is some concern that our existing attendance policy for delegates might be unconstitutional. And so really not only will help our annual conference to have that ruling of the Judicial Council, but will be a help, I think, to the entire denomination as we get clarity about whether annual conferences are allowed to have such attendance policies for their delegates. That was the end of the resolutions that are listed. Our Board of Ordained Ministry gave their report, and so the candidates for commissioning and ordination were presented. As part of that report, one of the clergy in the annual conference raised a question of law of the bishop around whether the 2 clergy persons who'd been pulled off the report last year were eligible for commissioning ordination. And the Book of Discipline gives the bishop 30 days in which to respond, and so she received that request for a ruling and said that she would indeed take the time that is listed, take the 30 days in order to make that ruling. Commissioning and ordination is scheduled for tonight, and that means that those 2 persons will be commissioned and ordained, and anything that might come from the Judicial Council will be subsequent to that. That is, in many ways, a faithful and also a courageous and reasonable and measured stance for our bishop to take the responsibility to continue with the actions and the vote of the executive session, and to deal with whatever results might come. Bishop's response to a question of law is automatically referred to the Judicial Council, and so her response will be sent then to the Judicial Council. So we will be receiving from this morning's work at some point both a ruling from the Judicial Council not only on the delegate attendance policy, but after the whole process has been followed, a response to the bishop's ruling of law. Also, the Board of Ordained Ministry and others from the cabinet who've been working on a sexual ethics policy presented that to the annual conference. There was one amendment made to make sure that a sexual ethics violation response team would be available to all persons that are impacted by a break in clergy sexual ethics. And so with that minor amendment, the policy again was passed. The policy, like the nursing resolution, the sexual ethics policy was passed unanimously. So that's the work that was accomplished in our morning session. We are on lunch break, and when we reconvene at 2 o'clock, we will immediately go into our next ballot for both clergy and lay delegates. And again, hopefully the body will be able to move forward efficiently to get the work not only of the election completed, but also the work on the resolutions. We need to be receiving, this afternoon we'll also be receiving reports from our Board of Pensions, Council on Finance and Administration, and Equitable Compensation. And so we will reconvene, like I said, at 2 o'clock and expect to go immediately into a vote. Thank you.